Aaron slowly opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was light, not the warm sunlight of morning, but a soft, shimmering glow that came from every direction. The floor beneath him felt smooth and cold, almost like glass. He pushed himself up and looked around. He was in a long hall. Its walls were made of something that looked like crystal, yet it pulsed faintly as if it were alive. Streams of pale light ran through it like veins. The ceiling arched high above, covered in patterns that shifted like water. A low hum filled the air, like distant music that never stopped. Arn's heart began to beat faster. This was not his home. He had no idea where he was or how he had gotten here. He tried to remember, but his mind was like a foggy window dot at the far end of the hall. 3 high thrones stood side by side. They were carved from the same crystal as the walls, but glowed brighter. On each throne sat a figure unlike anything Aaron had ever seen. The one in the center had skin that shimmered like silver under moonlight. Her hair was long and the color of dark water at night. Her eyes were deep and bright, holding a strange power. To her right sat a figure with golden skin and hair like braided fire, while to her left was one with skin the color of pale blue skies and hair that floated gently, as if underwater. They were all tall and graceful, wearing flowing robes covered with symbols. Aaron realized they were women, alien women, yet their faces were almost human in shape, and each wore a small crown that glinted like a star. Round the hall, several guards stood in perfect stillness. They were much taller than Aaron, wearing silver armor that covered their bodies completely. Each held a long spear that shone faintly. Aaron's breath caught. The 3 on the thrones were watching him. None spoke at first. Their eyes moved over him as if they were studying every detail. Then, the one in the center leaned slightly forward. Her voice, when she spoke, was soft yet carried clearly through the hall. "He's perfect," she said. The words echoed in Aaron's head. Perfect? Perfect for what? The one with golden skin tilted her head, her expression thoughtful. "Are you certain?" she asked in the same language, though strangely, Aaron could understand every word. The blue-skinned one smiled faintly. "I think I see what you mean." Aaron took a careful step forward. "Excuse me," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Where am I? Who are you?" The central figure looked at him with eyes that seemed both kind and serious. "You are on the world of Sarathis," she said. "We are the princesses of this realm. I am Alara, and these are my sisters, Soline and Myra." She gestured to the golden and blue-skinned women. Aaron blinked. "Sarathis? That's not on Earth, is it, Soline?" The golden one gave a small laugh. "Earth, no. Your world is far from here. You are in another part of the galaxy." The air felt heavier in Aaron's lungs. "How did I get here?" The sisters exchanged glances. Myra, the blue-skinned one, answered, "You were brought here by our summons. The how may be less important than the why." Aaron frowned. "And why?" Alara rose from her throne. Even standing still, she seemed to carry an air of command. She stepped closer to him, and the light from the walls caught the edges of her silver hair. "Because we face a danger that our own people cannot overcome. We have searched many worlds for someone who can help us, and you are the first human to set foot in this hall for many centuries." Aaron took a step back. "A danger? What kind of danger?" The princess's voice grew softer, but her eyes remained steady. "A great storm moves through the void of space. A storm that carries destruction. Our scientists call it the Mogel. It will reach Sarathis in less than 1 cycle. If we do not stop it, our cities, our oceans, our sky, all will be gone." Aaron's chest felt tight. "And you think I can stop it? I'm just me. I'm not a soldier, not a hero. You are human," Alara said simply. "That is enough." Her words puzzled him. "Why does that matter?" Soline leaned forward in her throne. "The only hope we have lies in an ancient artifact, the Star Core. It was hidden long ago on a world no Sarathian can enter. Its defenses respond only to human life signs. No one but you could pass." Aaron tried to process this. "So, you want me to find this thing?" Myra nodded gently. "Yes, without it, our world will perish. With it, we can shield Sarathis from the Mogel." Aaron's thoughts spun. He had just woken up in an alien hall, and now 3 royal figures were telling him he had to save their planet. Part of him wanted to refuse. He didn't even know. These people, he didn't even know if he could trust them. But another part of him looked at their faces and saw something real, a quiet hope mixed with fear. "What if I fail?" he asked. Alara's eyes softened. "Then we will face the storm as best we can. But if you succeed, millions will live, for a moment." The hall was silent except for the hum of the crystal walls. Aaron's heart pounded. He was no hero, but he could not walk away from a chance to save lives. He straightened his back and looked at Alara. "All right, I'll try." The silver-haired princess gave a slow nod, and the faintest smile touched her lips. "Then you are truly perfect." 2 guards stepped forward, their armor glinting. One carried a smooth silver case, while the other held a long staff with a glowing tip. Alara gestured toward them. "You will need guidance, training, and a ship, my youngest sister. Myra will go with you. She knows the paths between stars and the ways of other worlds." Myra rose gracefully from her throne. Her steps made no sound on the crystal floor. She stopped beside Aaron and gave a polite bow of her head. "We leave at first light." Aaron glanced at her, then back at Alara. "I guess this means I'm part of your world now." Alara's gaze was calm. "For as long as you choose to be." The hum of the hall seemed to grow stronger, as if the walls themselves had heard the decision. Far above, in the patterns of the shifting ceiling, a faint image formed. A star surrounded by swirling light. Aaron didn't understand its meaning, but he felt it was a sign that his life had just changed forever, and somewhere deep inside, despite the fear, a small spark of excitement began to grow. The morning on Sarathis did not begin with the rise of a sun. Instead, the whole sky brightened slowly, as though the light was being poured into it from some unseen source. The crystal walls of the palace caught the glow and scattered it across. The halls like drifting stars. Ayan stood near a tall window, staring out at the strange world. Beyond the palace's high walls lay silver lakes, tall towers, and bridges that shone in the distance. The air outside shimmered faintly, as though filled with dust made of light. Footsteps echoed behind him. Aaron turned to see Myra walking toward him. She was dressed differently now, a close-fitting robe that looked built for travel, with a silver belt holding a small device at her side. Her long hair moved as if stirred by an invisible breeze. "You are awake early," she said in her calm voice. Aaron gave a small shrug. "Couldn't sleep much. Still trying to figure out how I ended up here. You will learn more in time." Myra replied, "But first, my sisters wish to speak with you again. The council is gathered." Aaron followed her through the wide corridors of the palace. Every step revealed new wonders. Floating lanterns without flames, murals that changed as he moved, and doors that opened on their own when they sensed someone approach. They entered a large chamber. This time, it was not only the 3 princesses who waited, but also several figures in long robes, their faces hidden by delicate masks. They sat at a round table carved from deep blue stone. Alara, the eldest princess, rose to greet him. "Aaron, of Earth," she said formally, "we thank you for agreeing to hear us. I said I'd try to help." Aaron reminded her, his voice steady. "But I still don't know what that means exactly, so lean." The golden-skinned sister leaned forward. "Slightly, it means you will take a journey through dangerous paths. You will cross sectors of space where even we are not welcome, and you will reach the place where the star core rests." Aaron stepped closer to the table. "Tell me more about this star core. What is it?" "Exactly." One of the masked council members spoke, their voice soft but clear. "The star core is a sphere of living energy, created by the first explorers of this galaxy. It can shape space and turn storms aside, but it is sealed by a system that only responds to human patterns. Your heartbeat, your voice, your movement. Why would it respond to humans?" Aaron asked, frowning. Alara answered, "Long ago, humans traveled the stars. They left marks on many worlds, but then they vanished from the galaxy. Your kind became a legend. Few believed humans still existed until you appeared here." Aaron tried to absorb that. "So you're saying I'm basically a key to open The lock, a key with a mind of his own, Solene said with a faint smile. The place where the star core rests is filled with trials. A machine can't pass them. Only a living human can. And you're sure I'm the only one you've got? Aaron asked. There are no others, Myra said simply. You are a one chance. Aaron let out a slow breath. All right, if I'm doing this, I need to know what I'm up against. What kind of dangers are we talking about? The council exchanged glances. Alara spoke carefully. The journey will take you through the Shard Belt, a region of broken moons and drifting metal. You may face storms of debris. There are also those who would seek the star core for themselves. The warlord known as Varric commands ships in that region. He will not allow you to pass easily. Aaron folded his arms. So there's a storm coming to your planet, and there's someone out there who wants the thing that can stop it. And you're sending me right into the middle of it. That is the truth, Alara said without apology. For a long moment, no one spoke. The hum of the crystal walls filled the silence. Then Aaron sighed. All right, if I'm going, I'll need someone who knows the way. Myra will guide you, Alara said. She has traveled beyond our borders more than any other. She will see you safely to the star core. If safety is possible, Myra gave a small nod. We leave at the next sky turn. Solene tapped the table, and a glowing map appeared in the air. It showed a path twisting between bright points of light, stars, Aaron guessed, and shadowed regions. At the far edge of the map was a glowing sphere marked with strange symbols. That is your destination, Solene said. It lies on the world of Telios, a dead place. The air is thin, the ground unstable, but within its core is the chamber that holds the star core. Aaron studied the path. And you're sure there's no faster way? There are faster ways, Myra said, but they are suicide. The map faded. Alara stepped closer to him, her gaze steady. You are free to refuse, Aaron. We cannot force you. Aaron met her eyes. If I refuse, your world is destroyed, right? Yes, Alara said without hesitation. He exhaled slowly. Then I guess I don't really have a choice. Do I? And a faint smile touched Alara's lips. Some would call it destiny. The council rose and began to leave the chamber. Myra stayed beside Aaron as the others went. You should prepare, she said. Our journey will not be comfortable. The stars are beautiful, but they are not gentle. Aaron gave a small half smile. I'm starting to figure that out. Later that day, Myra led him to the palace's docking bay. The space was enormous, with high glass walls looking out into the sky. Dozens of ships rested in long rows, sleek vessels with wings that shimmered like metal feathers. One ship stood apart from the rest. It was smaller, built for speed, with a smooth black surface that seemed to drink in the light. Myra gestured toward it. This is the Zephyr. She will carry us to Telios. Aaron walked around the ship, running his hand over its cool surface. Looks fast. She is, Myra said, and she is quiet. That will matter if we cross paths with Varric's hunters inside. The ship's cabin was compact but filled with strange controls. Seats molded themselves to his shape when he sat. The windows stretched wide, giving him a full view of the bright sky. When we leave, Myra said, strapping herself into the pilot's seat, there will be no turning back. Do you understand? Aaron looked out at the endless sky beyond. The glass. He thought about Earth, about home, about the fact that he might never see it again. But he also thought about the three princesses in their crystal hall, and the storm that could wipe away their world. Yeah, he said finally, I understand. Myra pressed the control, and the ship's systems came to life. A deep hum filled the cabin. The floor trembled faintly. The Zephyr lifted from the dock, turning toward the open air. The sky seemed to bend ahead of them, as if making way, and then, with a soft burst of light, they were gone. The Zephyr glided through the upper sky of Serathis like a silent arrow from the cockpit. Aaron could see the silver lakes and shining towers of the planet growing smaller below them. Soon, the soft light of the world gave way to the deep darkness of space. Aaron pressed his face slightly toward the wide glass. Stars filled every direction, bright and endless. Between them stretched great shadows, some shaped like clouds, others like waves of darkness. He had never imagined space could look so alive. Mira's hands moved smoothly over the controls. Strange. Symbols glowed on the panels, and the ship responded with quiet hums and gentle tilts. "Enjoy the view while you can," she said without looking at him. "Soon, we leave the comms sectors." Aaron leaned back into his seat. "What happens in the other sectors?" Her eyes stayed on the stars. Storms, pirates, creatures that travel between planets without ships, and worse, those who work. For Varric, the name Varric sounded heavy in her voice. Aaron remembered Alar's warning. "This Varric guy, you've met him before." "Once," Myra said. "He wants power, and the Star Corps would give him more than anyone should have." They passed into a region where the stars grew brighter and closer together. Streams of light drifted between them like rivers in space. Aaron thought it looked peaceful, but Mira's gaze sharpened. "Hold on," she said. Adjusting the ship's course, meteor band ahead, Aaron frowned. Meteor band? The Zephyr's warning lights flickered as the first rocks appeared. Small at first, then larger, moving fast, they tumbled through space in uneven paths, some glowing faintly from the heat of past collisions. Myra weaved the ship between them with quick, precise movements. "Do not touch the panels," she told Aaron calmly, though her voice was firm. "Wasn't planning to," Aaron muttered, gripping his seat. A massive piece of rock spun into view ahead. Mira's fingers danced over the controls, and the Zephyr dipped sharply under it. The ship rolled to avoid to moor, then shot upward through a narrow gap. Close enough. Aaron breathed when the last of the meteors faded behind them. "We are not finished," Myra said, scanning the space ahead. Out of the dark came shapes. Not rocks this time, but large, moving shadows with wings that beat slowly. Each one had a long, narrow body, and their wings glimmered faintly as they moved. Aaron's eyes widened. "What are those?" "Void gliders," Myra said. "They feed on energy. If they touch the Zephyr, they will drain our systems." The creatures turned toward the ship, drawn by its light. Myra cut the main power, and the Zephyr drifted in silence. The gliders slowed, circling. "They cannot see well," Myra explained. "They hunt by feeling the flow of power." Aaron thought for a moment. "So, if they can't see us, we just float until they leave." "That is the idea," Myra said. They waited in the dark. The only light came from the faint glow of the glider's wings. One of them drifted closer, its massive shape blotting out the stars. Aaron held his breath. The creature passed by without touching the ship, slowly. The group moved away, fading into the distance. Myra restored the power, and the Zephyr glided forward again. "That was something," Aaron said. Myra gave him a faint smile. "You stayed quiet. That helps." Hours passed in the quiet hum of the ship. Myra taught Aaron how to read some of the navigation displays, glowing maps that shifted as they moved. She showed him how the Zephyr's shields worked and how to seal the cabin in case of a breach. As she spoke, Aaron noticed something about her. She was careful, always speaking with measured words, but there was a gentleness in her tone when she explained things. They were crossing another stretch of space when an alarm sounded, a sharp, fast pulse. Mira's eyes narrowed. "Ship following us," she said. "It is not one of ours." Aaron looked back through the rear window and saw it, a dark vessel, long and thin, with red lights along its side. It was closing the distance fast. "Varric?" Aaron asked quickly. "Possibly one of his hunters," Myra replied. "They are fast, but they are not quiet." She pressed a sequence of controls, and the Zephyr's outer surface shimmered briefly. "I have masked our trail. If we are lucky, they will lose us in the Shard Belt." "The Shard Belt?" Aaron asked. "Next sector," she said. "You will see soon." Within minutes, the stars ahead were broken by shapes, countless fragments of shattered moons and ancient wrecks, each spinning slowly. Some pieces were small as pebbles, others the size of mountains. The Zephyr slipped into the belt, weaving between jagged edges of rock and metal. The pursuing ship followed, but its path was less careful. Once, it scraped a large shard, and sparks trailed from its side. "They cannot keep this up," Myra said quietly. Aaron noticed a huge piece of a broken station ahead, an open tunnel through its center. "Can we hide in there?" he asked. Myra considered for a moment, then nodded. She guided the Zephyr into the tunnel just as the hunter ship passed nearby. The shadows of the wreck hid them completely. When the hunter was gone, Myra powered the ship forward again. "Good idea," she said. Arin raised an eyebrow. "Thanks. Guess human thinking has its uses after all." She gave the smallest smile. "It does." Beyond the shard belt, the space ahead opened wide again. A faint red glow lit the far horizon. The edge of a massive nebula. Mira's voice grew softer. "Beyond that lies the path to Telios." Arin stared at the glowing clouds. "Looks dangerous." "It is," Myra said. "But it is also beautiful. That is often the way of things." The Zephyr sailed toward the red light, and Arin felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. The journey had only begun, but already he knew one thing: nothing about this mission would be simple. The red glow of the nebula grew larger as the Zephyr moved closer. Great clouds of gas swirled in slow motion, forming shapes that shifted with every moment. Some parts glowed faintly, while others were deep and dark. It was beautiful, but the silence between Arin and Myra told him this place was dangerous. "Why are we going through this?" Arin asked, watching the clouds. "It is the fastest path," Myra replied. "The other routes are longer, and Varric's ships may wait there. Here, the danger comes from the nebula itself." "What kind of danger?" "Radiation, magnetic storms, and things that live inside the clouds," Myra said simply. The Zephyr entered the outer edge of the nebula. The light outside softened, turning red and gold. Small flashes of lightning rippled across distant clouds. Arin could feel the ship's shields humming faintly, protecting them from the strange energy. For a time, the only sounds were the hum of the engines and the occasional crackle from outside. But then, a new sound came, a faint beep on the console. Mira's eyes narrowed. "Another ship?" Arin guessed. "Yes," Myra said. "Small. Fast. They are not on a normal flight path." Arin leaned forward. "So, Varric's spies found us?" "Possibly," Myra said. "Or they are pirates. Either way, they are following." The Zephyr's sensors showed a dark shape moving in the cloud behind them. It was barely visible through the nebula, but its movement was steady. "They are trying to stay hidden," Myra said. "But they are not careful enough." "What do we do?" Arin asked. "We cannot fight them directly," Myra replied. "They will call for more ships if they see us clearly. We must make them lose us." Arin thought for a moment. "Could we trick them somehow?" Myra glanced at him. "What do you have in mind?" Arin studied the glowing clouds. "You said the nebula has storms, right? Maybe we can make them think the storm took us." "How?" Myra asked. "Can you make the ship look damaged, like it's breaking apart?" Mira's eyes lit with understanding. "Yes, we can overload the outer shields in a way that will make the energy flash around us. It will look like a hull breach, and then we cut power, drift into a dark cloud, and let them pass," Myra said. "Let's try it." Arin said. Mira's fingers moved quickly over the controls. Outside, the Zephyr's shields flared suddenly, sending a bright flash through the clouds. Sparks of energy scattered like shards of light. The sensors showed the chasing ship slowing, as if watching their damage. "Now," Myra said, cutting the engines. The ship drifted silently into a thick, dark part of the nebula. Inside the cloud, there was no light at all. Only the faint sound of air moving through the ship's systems broke the silence. Through the small rear window, Arin saw the enemy ship move past, scanning the area. After a few moments, it turned away, heading deeper into the nebula. "It worked," Arin whispered. "Yes," Myra said quietly. "You think differently. I would not have chosen this method, but it was effective." Arin smiled slightly. "Guess human tricks still have a place in space." They restarted the engines and moved deeper into the nebula, careful to avoid drawing attention. The red and gold light returned, and the thick clouds slowly began to thin. But peace did not last. As they neared the far side of the nebula, Mira's sensors picked up something else, a cluster of signals ahead. "More ships?" Arin asked. "Yes," Myra said. "Not Varric's. Civilian traders. But they are stopped. Stopped. Why? They are under attack, Myra said, her voice tightening. Through the clouds ahead, they saw flashes of light. A small group of trading ships was surrounded by two larger, darker vessels. Beams of energy streaked between them, and pieces of debris floated in the air. They are pirates. Myra said, "We must avoid them." Aaron frowned. "We could help them. It is not our mission," Myra replied. "And the pirates are strong." Aaron looked at the trading ships again. Even from here, he could tell they were smaller and slower. They had little chance of escape. If we help, maybe. They help us later. If we leave them, maybe they tell Varric about us. Myra considered his words. Then she sighed. One chance. If it fails, we run. Aaron nodded. What's the plan? The pirates' sensors are old, Myra said. If we overload our comms system in a certain way, it will look like a much larger ship is arriving. They will think a warship has. Come, scare them off, Aaron said. I like it. Myra began adjusting the ship's systems. The Zephyr's signal grew, broadcasting a false profile that made it appear many times larger. She added a repeating message in a military code, one the pirates would understand as a warning. Within moments, the pirates stopped firing. The two dark ships turned sharply and vanished into the nebula. The trading ships held position, sending cautious signals. They're asking who we are, Myra said. Tell them, just a passing friend. Aaron said with a small smile. Myra sent the message, and the traders replied with thanks before continuing on their way. When they finally cleared the nebula, the space ahead was open again, and a faint red star glowed in the distance. That is the sun of Telios, Myra said. We are close. Aaron leaned back in his seat, feeling the tension fade slightly. So far, we've survived meteors, energy-eating creatures, spies, and pirates. Not bad for a first trip through space. Myra gave him a small, approving look. You are learning quickly. The Zephyr continued toward the distant red star, but in Aaron's mind, one thought kept repeating. If this was only the journey to Telios, what would they find when they reached it? The ship drifted slowly through the edge of an uncharted sector. Outside the windows, a dim red glow lit the endless space. Lyra checked her navigation screen again and looked at Aaron. This is it, she said. The lost world. Aaron stood and moved closer to the window. Below them, a planet came into view. Its surface was cracked and dry, with rivers of glowing red light cutting through dark land. The clouds swirled like smoke, and there was no sign of oceans or green fields. It looks dead. Aaron said, It has been dead for thousands of years, Lyra replied. But long ago, it was the heart of a great empire. The artifact should be hidden somewhere on the surface. They guided the ship down through the red clouds. The air shimmered outside, making the landscape look twisted and strange. The landing zone was a wide, flat plain filled with broken stone columns and giant statues. Most of the statues were half buried, their faces worn away by time. The moment Aaron stepped outside, he felt the heat. The air was heavy, almost like it was pressing against his skin. Lyra adjusted her breathing mask and handed Aaron a light device. This will help you breathe easier. She said, Stay close. This place is not as empty as it looks. They moved through the ruins. Strange carvings covered the walls and fallen gates. Aaron paused in front of one carving. It showed a group of beings with human-like shapes standing beside tall, alien figures. These look like humans, Aaron said, running his hand along the stone. Lyra's eyes widened. That is impossible. Humans never came here. Or at least, our records say they did not. Maybe your records are wrong, Aaron said. Or maybe they were here so long ago that no one remembers. They walked deeper into the ruins until they found a stairway leading underground. A faint red light came from below. This must be the entrance, Lyra said. But be careful. The people who build this place love puzzles and traps. Only the worthy could reach their treasures. The air grew cooler as they descended. The stairs ended in a vast chamber with a floor made of black stone. Across the room stood a giant door, covered in symbols. Looks like we need to open it, Aaron said. He stepped forward, studying the symbols. They seemed to match the carvings they saw outside. He realized they formed a kind of pattern, almost like a code. Lyra tried pressing one of the symbols, but the floor shifted beneath her. Sharp spikes rose from the sides of the room before. Lowering again. Not that one, Aaron said quickly. How do you know? Lyra asked. It's like a puzzle back on Earth, Aaron explained. You have to follow the right order, or the trap activates. Watch. He traced a path with his finger in the air, then pressed the first symbol. Nothing happened. He pressed the next two in a careful sequence. The door made a deep rumbling sound and slowly slid open. Inside, the walls were lined with glowing crystals. The light danced across the chamber, casting strange shadows. In the center of the room was a circular pit with a narrow bridge crossing it. This feels too easy, Aaron said quietly. Halfway across the bridge, he heard a faint noise. Out of the shadows, figures appeared, tall alien hunters wearing dark armor. Their eyes glowed faintly in the crystal light. They followed us, Lyra whispered. The hunters stepped onto the bridge from the other side, blocking the path. One of them spoke in a harsh voice. The artifact belongs to us. Aaron glanced at the pit. It was deep and filled with a strange mist. Jumping was not an option. Instead, he stepped closer to Lyra and whispered, We have to make them move. First? How? She asked. By making them think we're going to win, Aaron said. He took a step forward and held his hands out as if ready to fight. The hunters laughed, moving slowly toward him. That was when Aaron kicked one of the loose stones from the bridge into the pit. The stone hit something below, and a deep growl echoed up. The hunters froze. From the mist, a massive creature's head emerged. It had long teeth and scales that shimmered in the crystal light. The hunters panicked, stepping back toward the far side of the bridge. Aaron grabbed Lyra's hand and ran forward. As they passed the hunters, the creature lunged upward, forcing them to jump away. They crossed the rest of the bridge and entered the final chamber. In the middle of the room stood the artifact. Smooth, glowing sphere placed on a stone pedestal. It pulsed gently, like it had a heartbeat. Aaron approached it slowly. This is it, he said the moment he touched it. The light from the sphere grew brighter, filling the room with warmth. Symbols on the walls lit up, and a faint hum filled the air. Lyra looked amazed. It responds to you, she said. It really is true. Only a human can activate it. But before they could celebrate, they heard footsteps from behind. The hunters had found another way into the chamber. Aaron picked up the artifact, feeling its weight in his hands. He knew they could not fight here without risking damage to it. This place is falling apart, he said. We need to move. As they ran back toward the ship, the ground shook and dust rained from the ceiling. The old ruins seemed to be collapsing. The hunters chased them, but the creature from the pit burst through the floor, blocking their path. Aaron and Lyra reached the surface just as the ruins caved in completely. They boarded the ship, engines roaring to life. Through the window, they saw the hunters trapped behind the falling stone and the raging beast as the ship rose into the sky. Aaron looked down at the red world. That was too close, he said. Lyra glanced at the glowing sphere in his hands. Close, but worth it. They both knew the hardest part was still ahead. The artifact was safe for now, but the rival lord would not stop until it was taken from them. The underground chamber was silent except for the low hum of the artifact. It stood on a stone pedestal in the center of the room, glowing faintly with soft light. The walls around it were carved with ancient markings, telling stories of heroes. Long gone, Aaron stepped forward slowly, his boots echoing against the stone floor. Lyra stayed a few steps behind, watching the shadows carefully. They had made it through the traps, the puzzles, and the maze of tunnels. But both of them knew this might be the hardest part yet. The artifact was no ordinary object. It was said to test the heart and mind of whoever touched it. Aaron reached out, and as his fingers brushed the surface, the light grew brighter. Suddenly, the chamber faded away, and he found himself standing in a completely different place. It looked like his home, the one from Earth. The sky was clear, the air fresh. He could hear birds singing in the distance. For a moment, he almost forgot where he was. Then a voice spoke, soft but powerful. Aaron, what do you desire most? He turned but saw no one. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Aaron thought about it. Part of him wanted to go back to Earth, to return to the life he had before all of this. But another part knew that if he left now, the alien world would be lost to the storm. The voice showed him an image, a vision of himself holding the artifact and using it to protect himself only. The vision then shifted to show millions of alien citizens trapped under dark clouds, their homes breaking apart as the storm raged. Choose, the voice said, your safety or theirs. Aaron's heart pounded. He knew the easy choice would be to go home and leave the danger behind. But the thought of leaving Lyra and her people to face destruction was something he couldn't live with. He shook his head. He said firmly, I choose to protect them. The vision faded, and the chamber returned. The artifact glowed even brighter now, its light warm and welcoming. It had accepted him before he could take it. The sound of heavy footsteps filled the room. From the shadows, enemy hunters appeared, tall, armored figures carrying strange energy weapons. They had been following them since the starship, and now they wanted the artifact for themselves. Lyra stepped forward, her voice strong. You will not take it. The hunters laughed. Confident in their numbers, Aaron grabbed the artifact, feeling its energy surged through him. It was heavy, but it seemed to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. One hunter charged forward, but Aaron sidestepped and used the artifact's energy to send a wave of force across the floor. The alien stumbled and fell. Lyra drew her plasma staff and blocked another attack, spinning it to strike her opponent's weapon from his hands. They moved together, covering each other in the fight. Aaron quickly realized that the artifact wasn't just a key to stopping the storm. It could also be used defensively. He held it in both hands, focusing his thoughts. A shield of energy formed around them, blocking incoming blasts. Keep moving, Lyra shouted. We can't fight them forever. They pushed forward toward the exit. Hunters tried to block their way, but Aaron found himself using tricks from his Earth life, rolling under swings, knocking one opponent into another, and using the environment to his advantage. One trap they had passed earlier, a collapsing stone pillar, was now an opportunity. Aaron struck it with the artifact's power, sending debris crashing down between them and their attackers. Finally, they reached the last tunnel. The hunters' voices echoed behind them, but they were too far to catch up. When they stepped back into the light of the ruined city above, Aaron felt a rush of relief. The air outside was heavy and hot, but it was freedom compared to the dark chamber below. Lyra looked at him, her eyes bright. You passed the test. The artifact accepted you? Aaron caught his breath and smiled faintly. I didn't do it alone. You've been helping me since the start. She shook her head. No, Aaron, the choice was yours, and that is why my sister called you perfect, not because of strength or skill, but because of heart. Aaron felt the weight of her words. He didn't feel perfect, but he understood now. Sometimes, what mattered most wasn't having all the answers. It was caring enough to try. They looked back once at the ruins, knowing they had just escaped a dangerous place. Now, the real challenge was to return home before the rival lord found another way to stop them. Aaron tightened his grip on the artifact. The storm was still coming, but for the first time since this all began, he felt ready. The wind had changed from the high cliffs above the ruined city. Aaron could see dark clouds swirling over the horizon. They moved like a living thing, spreading across the alien sky, swallowing the light. The storm was coming faster than anyone expected. Lyra stood beside him, her long cloak fluttering. The storm front has grown since yesterday. We have less time than we thought, she said. Aaron held the artifact in both hands. It pulsed gently, as if it understood the urgency. This is what it's for, right? To stop this. Yes, Lyra replied, but it will not work by itself. It needs to be placed at the heart of the Sky Tower, and the tower is in the capital, deep inside the rival lord's territory. Aaron's stomach tightened. The rival lord, Kareth, was not someone they could reason with. He wanted the storm to destroy the city, so he could rise as the only power left. They began their journey at first light. The path led them through the broken forest, where tall black trees reached like claws toward the sky. Strange bird calls echoed through the branches. Every sound kept Aaron on edge. But Lyra moved with steady confidence. By midday, they reached the edge of the desert. The ground shimmered with heat. Ahead, Aaron could see the faint silhouette of the sky tower, a thin spire reaching far above the clouds. But between them and the tower were patrols, armored soldiers searching for intruders. "We can't walk straight in," Lyra whispered. "They will see us before we are halfway there." Aaron thought for a moment. "We go at night, use the shadows." They hid among the desert rocks until the sun dipped below the horizon. When darkness came, they moved quietly, keeping low and avoiding open ground. The stars above were bright, but the wind was growing stronger, a sign that the storm was close. They reached the outer wall of the capital just before midnight. It was made of black stone, smooth and tall, with watchtowers lit by blue fire. Guards walked along the top, their armor glinting in the light. Lyra pointed to a narrow drainage tunnel at the base of the wall. "That's our way in, but we must move quickly between guard passes." They waited until the nearest guard turned away, then dashed across the sand. Aaron's heart pounded as they slipped inside the tunnel. It smelled of damp stone, and the sound of dripping water echoed around them when they emerged. They were inside the capital's lower streets. Tall buildings loomed over narrow alleys. The air was heavy with the scent of oil lamps and distant cooking fires. Voices carried through the night, merchants closing shops, guards giving orders. And some were far off, music from a tavern. They kept to the back streets, moving quickly toward the sky tower. The tower was even taller up close, its base surrounded by a wide courtyard of polished stone. At the center stood a massive gate, guarded by two of Kareth's elite soldiers. Aaron knew there was no way past them without a distraction. He glanced at Lyra. "I'll draw them away. You get inside." She frowned. "It's too dangerous." "Not doing it is more dangerous," he said with a small smile. "Trust me." He stepped out into the open, making sure the guards saw him. "Hey," he shouted. They turned instantly, raising their weapons. Aaron sprinted toward the side street, forcing them to follow. They shouted for backup, but in the confusion, Lyra slipped past the gate and into the tower. Inside, the sky tower was filled with winding stairs and ancient machinery. The air buzzed faintly with static. The higher Lyra climbed, the more she could feel the artifact's energy resonating through the structure. Meanwhile, Aaron darted through the streets, using every twist, and turned to keep ahead of the guards. He slid under a low archway, vaulted over a broken cart, and doubled back toward the tower's side entrance. By the time he slipped inside, his chest was burning from the run. He found Lyra on the highest platform, standing before a large crystal chamber at the tower's heart. "This is it," she said. "Place the artifact here." Aaron stepped forward and carefully set the artifact into the crystal mount. The moment it touched, the entire tower came alive. Blue light raced up the walls, and a deep hum filled the air. Outside, the storm had reached the edge of the capital. Lightning flashed across the clouds, and winds tore at rooftops. But as the tower's energy grew, a wave of light burst from its tip, spreading across the sky. The storm clouds shuddered and began to break apart, the wind losing its strength. Down below, people poured into the streets, looking up at the glowing tower. They shouted in surprise, some in joy, others in disbelief. But their victory was short-lived. From the shadows at the far end of the platform, Kareth himself stepped forward. His black armor reflected the tower's light, and his voice was cold. "You have interfered for the last time." He drew a weapon unlike any Aaron had seen, a blade of crackling energy. Lyra moved between him and Aaron, her plasma staff ready. Kareth attacked with surprising speed, forcing Lyra back. Aaron knew she couldn't hold him off forever. He looked at the artifact, still glowing in the crystal mount. If Kareth damaged it, the storm could return. Without thinking, Aaron ran forward. Kareth swung at him, but Aaron ducked low, grabbing the artifact and channeling its energy into a pulse that threw Kareth back. The rival lord staggered, dropping his weapon. Lyra struck with her staff, knocking him unconscious. Silence returned to the tower except for the soft hum of the artifact. Outside, The sky was clear once more. They stood there for a long moment. Breathing heavily, finally, Lyra turned to Aaron. "You did it. You saved us." Aaron shook his head with a small smile. "We did it, together." They left the tower as the first light of dawn touched the horizon. The people of the capital watched them go, some bowing in thanks, others simply staring in awe. The journey back would be long, but Aaron no longer felt like a stranger in this world. He had come from far away, but now he had a place here, and friends worth protecting. And as the sun rose higher, the storm was gone.